So today, rather than kind of review something, I'm going to actually talk about the mythical phone book sized comics. And they do exist. And this one is probably the most famous of them all, which is called Shonen Jump. Now, Shonen means young boy in Japanese because obviously it's targeted at boys. And Jump is just Jump for English. I don't know why they call it Jump. And they call it Weekly Jump because it's a weekly publication. So that's the logo. And if you look at the side, you can see it's a pretty thick book. So this is released weekly, and it's quite cheap. It sells for 255 yen, which is nearly $3. That's pretty cheap. It's printed on very cheap paper, so the printing quality is not very good. It's also on like a newspaper type thing, so it's not really designed for you to, keep. It's not really a collector's item. It's just like a newspaper. You get it, you read it, you throw it out. But this is a very special publication. It's been, I don't know how many years it's been around, but it's been around for many, 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 many years. And it's very special because whenever a series like One Piece or Dragonball or something like that is released, it comes through this publication first. So before the animation, before anything else, every week a new chapter, and a chapter's about 20 pages, is released and it's published in Shonen Jump. Now, not all manga or comics are released in Weekly Jump. There are other publications that also release manga, and they're kind of targeted different audiences, or they're less popular series, or whatever it may be. And in fact, some of them actually have like girls on bikinis, like real girls, not cartoon girls, on bikinis, and it's not porn, but it'll have like the first couple of pages again will be like idols. They call them idols in Japan. So it's quite shameless, to be honest, the way they kind of target, their male audience. But I guess sex sells in any culture, right? So you can see this one is from 2014. So I think there's 50 that are released each year, because sometimes in like Golden Week or New Year's, they'll release one for 2 weeks. Now the cover here obviously is for One Piece, and like all books in Japan, the spine's on the right and it reads right to left. So usually the front has color pages, it might have like a poster. It's not always One Piece. It might be, they have different posters and different things for other series. Lots of advertising for new merchandise or movies or whatever that's coming out. So you can get a really good targeted audience. So there's some Naruto information. There's Vegeta. Yeah, it's just kind of like advertising and stuff. And then you start getting into the actual comics. So it's about 500 pages. Oh, sometimes you get like a poster and stuff in the middle as well. So it's about 500 pages long. And as I said before, it's on like a newspaper style printing, so it's pretty cheap quality. But plenty of stuff to read in here. And I don't know why they do this, but the contents is actually at the back. I guess it's easy to sort of flip to and get the reference. So if we have a look, so remember this was in 2014, so you can see One Piece here. And then you've got Naruto, Bleach, so Kuroko No Basuke, which is now finished, Hunter x Hunter. So it'll have all these different series. As I said, it's about 500 pages. But one annoying thing is they often don't actually print the page number on the pages, which is really annoying. So some of them do, as you can see, I flick through. But if I just try and find Naruto, just to give you... Where is it? Is this it? Yeah. So Naruto, of course, is now finished in Japan, but there is a new manga coming out. So you can see here... Actually, this is near the end of Naruto, so I should have said a bit of a spoiler alert here, but... So it'll have about 20 pages. So the stuff that you read here of Naruto. Like, this is the first time that the story is ever released. So that's what they do. So once a week a chapter's released. Now over time, once about 10 or 11 chapters have been released, they will release one of these. And they call this a tankobon in Japanese. And this is of Naruto. Now this is the actual volume of Naruto. So this is volume 46, which is the pain arc, so it's an older one. And this is, you can see it's much smaller. So this is about A4, this is much smaller. It's kind of like postcard size. And it's printed on much better paper, so it's not... it's the printing quality is a lot better, the paper's a lot better. And this is just Naruto. And similarly, there'll be one for just One Piece and just... just Kuroko No Basuke and whatever series it is. So now this has, usually they have, as I said, 10 or 11 chapters, and the front of it will usually have just a short thing written from the author, so that's Masashi Kishimoto. And if I can find the contents, yeah, so at the start they might have, a guide to the characters, and then the contents page. So this one's got 10 chapters. So some people will wait until these are released and just buy these. So they're not that expensive actually. They're about $6 or $7. So it's pretty cheap to get manga in Japan, which is not surprising. Or you can even wait a while, and there's a huge second-hand market in Japan as well, so you can pick these up second-hand pretty cheap. This is actually a second-hand one, but it's still, it still is basically new. So then once that happens, that's pretty much the final one. Sometimes they re-release them. For example, Dragon Ball, they've re-released them. So they were originally 42 for Dragon Ball. They re-released them in a bit of a larger size, and some of them had colour and all that sort of stuff. You realise even these ones don't use colour, which is why some of the front artwork is important, because it tells you what, colour, like for example, what colour Hizari Nengani is, or, whatever. But the manga or the comic is basically like a blueprint for the animation. So that's like the story, that's like the script, and they'll always like change the anime. Sometimes, or often they'll add fillers to make sure that the animation doesn't catch up to the cartoons, because even though it's a lot harder to, or it's a more complex process to make animation, they have lots of people working on it, and of course you don't want the cartoon to catch up with the comic, because otherwise you don't have the script, right? So usually the difference between something coming out in this compared to when you'll actually see the cartoon on TV, it's probably about, I could be wrong on this, but it's probably about a year, maybe a little bit less. So, getting these, you get to see the story a lot more. And if you then want to wait until it's the cartoon's released overseas, you might be like 2 or 3 years, literally. So, but that's a bit of a guide as to how manga and that sort of thing is released in Japan. And the cartoons are shown once a week as well. So even like Dragon Ball or One Piece, they show one episode per week. Whereas overseas, they tend to do it in lots. Like they'll show it like 4 or 5 times a week. And then there might be like a few months where they don't show anything. So that's Shonen Jump, and then how they release it in the tankobon. Thanks for watching.